I've got 3 on-camera shotgun microphones with me, and they are all self-powered, but other than that, they are wildly different because they have wildly different price points. Hey, it's Matt Haynes, and rather than looking at like 3 different shotgun microphones that are very similar and like nitpicking all the little details, I wanted to look at microphones that are in different price points because your budget is your budget and it might vary. So I wanted you to be able to see what's available at different price points and what features you get and what you give up. And with me today, I have the Takstar SGC-598, which is bringing in the low end of the price point. In the middle, I have the Deity D4, not the mini, but the full-size one, recently released. And at the top of the range, I have the Sennheiser MKE-600. As I mentioned, all 3 of these microphones are self-powered. They have a battery in them. This allows you to get a little better signal-to-noise ratio than a purely passive microphone, and none of them are mini shotgun microphones. These are all a little bit larger, which means that they can be a little bit more directional and cut out unwanted sounds from the sides and the back. On the camera right now is the Takstar SGC598. This microphone has been around for a number of years, and I've owned it for a couple of years. I bought this when I realized the microphone on my camera was no good and I needed the cheapest shotgun microphone I could find. And it was $30 then, it's about $30 now, and seems to maintain that price pretty regularly. This microphone features an on-off switch because it's battery powered, and it's got a mini jack that plugs into your camera. It also has a 10 dB boost switch in case you need the extra volume, and also has a low roll-off or high-pass filter in case you need to roll off the low end because of plosives or possibly wind noise. And I mentioned wind noise because the Takstar does not come with a dead cat. It does come with a pop filter, but pop filters don't do anything for the wind. So if you're outdoors, you're gonna wanna get a dead cat, and that's gonna add to the cost of the microphone. You can get a cheap dead cat for about 10 bucks or so, but your $30 microphone becomes a $40 microphone at that point. I do have a dead cat on the Takstar right now, and it was probably about $10. It's a little scruffy looking thing. So I'm not using this as a test to test the outdoor performance of dead cats, because this microphone, and oddly enough the Sennheiser microphone, they don't come with dead cats. And shotgun microphones, of course, reject sound from the sides and the back, and right now to the back of the camera there's a really noisy playground. There's like some chimes and children screaming, and if I turn around, you can probably hear it quite a bit more. Dead cats, however, tend to reduce the high frequency information getting to the microphone. You do want to make sure that whatever dead cat you have is that sounds good on your microphone. But so far you've been hearing this microphone with the dead cat on. Again, a third-party dead cat, not made by Takstar. And let's hear it with it off. So this is how the microphone sounds without the dead cat on. Probably notice a little bit more in the high frequencies, even with the Takstar's not very great frequency response. So even though the shotgun microphone sounds better without the dead cat, if you're outdoors, you should always have a dead cat. Right now, the dead cat's not on, but the reason why you should always have a dead cat is because shotgun microphones are really sensitive to any air movement, not just wind. So if you're moving, there's wind blowing right now, you might be able to hear that. If you're moving your camera around a lot or moving the microphone around a lot, you're still gonna get some wind noise. Here, let me show you an example of movement-based wind noise. Now compare that with the dead cat on. Again, a third-party dead cat, but a dead cat nonetheless. When you're outdoors, you're just gonna have to suck it up and put a dead cat on, even with the high frequency loss, because wind noise and air movement noise is way worse than having to EQ it a little bit. The Takstar microphone is on a shock mount. I'm looking at it right here. It's a very stiff shock mount though. The elastic parts that attach the microphone body to the shock mount itself are pretty stiff. So I'm gonna tap on the monopod that I'm using to stabilize this to get a sense of how well it damps the vibrations. Now I'm going to tap on the camera itself. Now all of that should have been isolated to some degree from the microphone itself. Now on the camera I have the Deity D4. This is a relatively new microphone, and it really shows its modern heritage because it's got a lot of cool features. Goes for about $100. Right now you're listening to it with the dead cat on, and it's quite a substantial dead cat, and it does cut down the high frequencies quite a bit, but I'll let you hear how it sounds without in just a moment. One of the interesting features that the D4 has is that it automatically senses when you've plugged it into your camera, and it turns itself on and off based on that. Another interesting feature, whoa, this is steep. Another interesting feature about the D4 is that it has a USB-C output. So depending on whether you've plugged it into your camera, it'll have an analog output, or if you plug it into your computer, it becomes a USB microphone. The D4 also has a completely variable output gain, so you can fine-tune your output level. And let's see, are my output levels looking okay? Yeah, they're looking okay. Neither of the other two microphones have that much control over the output level. They just have a single switch to adjust it. So far, you've been hearing the D4 with the dead cat on, but let's take it off and hear how it sounds. And this is how the dead cat looks here. It's huge. So this is the D4 without the dead cat, and I'm pretty sure you can hear the difference. And the D4, just like other shotgun microphones, is pretty susceptible to wind noise. So let's do that air movement test with the dead cat off. All right, and here's how it sounds with the dead cat back on. The Deity D4 has a Rycote shock mount. They're known for doing a nice job with protecting microphones from shocks. And I'm going to tap on the monopod again. And I'm going to tap on the camera body again. Now the Deity D4 has quite a few features for an on-camera shotgun microphone, and I can't go into them all here. I did, however, review it recently, so I will put a link to that review in the video notes, so check them out. Now on the camera, I have a Sennheiser MKE-600, and this is an interesting hybrid mic. It can be either powered by phantom power, and it has an XLR jack on the back, but it also has a battery, so you can use the internal battery instead. And it comes with an XLR to mini jack converter. Also comes with a shock mount, very tiny shock mount that mounts on your camera. But what it doesn't come with is a dead cat. So I'm using the same ratty, cheap, third-party dead cat that I was using on the Takstar here on the Sennheiser. Now this microphone is about $350, and it has a really excellent sound quality. It's pretty heavy, so if you're doing this on a small camera, it's going to really sort of overwhelm the camera in terms of size and in terms of weight. The only switch besides the power switch that the MKE600 has on it is a low roll-off switch. So if you're getting some wind noise and you don't have a pop filter or something like that, then you can try and use that to cut down on the rumbling. So I've been using this with the third-party dead cat, so let's hear how the microphone sounds without. Now you're listening to the Sennheiser MKE600 with no dead cat on, no pop filter. This is just raw microphone. In owning this microphone, I've been really happy with the sound quality. The frequency response is really nice. It does a really good job rejecting sounds from the sides. But of course, you pay for it. I almost wish this microphone had a 10 dB pad because its output is so strong. I've got my camera dialed back to the minimum input level, and I still worry about peaking or hitting the limiter too much. So we still have the dead cat off. Let's hear how this responds to air movement without a dead cat. Okay, let's put the dead cat back on. The shock mount that comes with the MKE600 seems a little bit of an afterthought. It's pretty small, but let's hear how it does with the monopod tapping. And now I'm going to tap the camera. We've got a fabulous sunset with a view of the ocean here, but the sun is going down and I'm up here on a hiking trail, so I better hightail it back home. I wanted you to be able to hear these microphones in a studio situation as well, because maybe you're going to take them inside. Maybe you're putting them on a boom. Maybe you're going to mount them on a desk somehow. And also, this is a good way to hear the microphones without any, extraneous, background noise or wind or things like that. So I'm standardizing by putting everything on the Sony ZV-1 so that the microphone is about 10 inches away from my face. And I'm recording video on the Sony ZV-1. But it's primarily for audio. All three of these shotgun microphones have great battery life, so if that's a concern, that you're worried that you're going to have to be swapping batteries in and out all the time, not a problem with these shotgun mics. Yeah, there are many shotgun microphones that require no battery, but I got to be honest, in the couple of years I've owned the Takstar, for example, I've changed the battery a couple of times. Same thing with the Sennheiser, a couple of times, and I haven't had the D4 long enough to ever need to change a battery. While only one of these shotgun microphones comes with a dead cat, they all three come with a pop filter. So I'm using the manufacturer supplied pop filter on each one of these shotgun microphones, just so you can hear how it sounds. and we'll do plosive tests on them as well. These self-powered shotgun microphones are longer than the mini shotgun style, and that's a good thing because it helps reject more off-axis sound from the sides and the back. It's going to reject that, but because it's longer, it might end up in your shot, especially if you have a wide-angle lens on your camera, or your dead cat might end up in the shot with the fuzziness, as we saw in my field test. On the ZV-1 right now, I have the Takstar, and this microphone is really meant to be mounted on camera. It would be difficult to put it on a desk. It would be difficult to put it on a boom arm, simply because you've got a mini jack output only. So to run any length of cable, you'd need an extension cable that was a mini jack connector. And then there's the possibility of picking up noise and things like that from such a long cable run. So you could do it. It just would be kind of awkward. The end of the microphone is about 10 inches away, I'm estimating, and so I'm gonna do a plosive test now directly into the microphone. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I'll do that again. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So shotgun microphones are designed to reject sound from the sides and the back, so let's hear how this Takstar rejects sound off axis. And now I'm pointing directly at the microphone. This is on axis with the Takstar. This is 90 degrees off axis with the Takstar. This is 180 degrees off axis with the Takstar. And this is 90 degrees on the other side with the Takstar. And we're back to on axis. Now I have the Deity D4 on the Sony ZV-1 here, and it's about the same distance away from my mouth. Now, the Deity D4 is also primarily an on-camera microphone, the way it's designed. However, it does have a serious side hustle as a USB microphone. Because it has that really flexible output jack, you can plug an analog cable into it, you can plug a digital cable into it, you can plug this directly into your computer, you can plug it into some tablets and some phones. Completely digital signal connection between the microphone and the computer. Now, putting this microphone on a boom arm. Yes, you could do it. You could either do it the same way you would do with the Takstar, which would be to have a mini jack extension cable running all the way to your recorder, or you have the option of running a USB-C cable directly from the microphone into your computer or your other recording device. And you should be able to run at a pretty long distance, and the signal would be completely digital the whole way. Now, I haven't tried that. I don't know for sure that it works, but it's pretty conceivable that it would work. So let's do a plosive test on the D4 here, and now I am directly on axis of the microphone. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Let's do that one more time. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And let's do an off-axis test for this microphone as well. And right now I am on axis, pointing directly at the microphone. This is 90 degrees off axis for the Deity D4. This is 180 degrees off axis for the Deity D4. This is 90 degrees off axis on the other side. And we are back to on axis for the Deity D4. Now on the little ZV-1, I have the MKE-600, which is just dwarfing the camera. If I were using the camera to shoot with, I'd want to make sure this microphone was scooted way back. I am using the supplied pop filter from Sennheiser on this microphone right now, and we'll do a plosive test in just a moment. Now the MKE-600 is truly a hybrid. You can use it on camera, you can use it on a boom pole. Because it has an XLR output, you can run a long cable to a recorder and not have to worry about interference or noise. It does come with an adapter cable that allows you to plug it into a mini jack on a camera as well, which is nice. I do think this microphone is best used on a larger camera rig though, something that's going to be able to support its weight. It's not something that you would want to try and carry around one-handed on a camera because it's really heavy. The MKE-600 would also be at home on a boom pole and is a very serious microphone with great quality. You also have the option of using phantom power with this microphone instead of the internal battery, so that's a nice touch as well. Of the three microphones you've heard here so far, I think the MKE-600 has the best sound quality by far, but it's also quite a bit more expensive than the other two microphones. So let's do a plosive test on this microphone. And I am on axis to the microphone now. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And let's do that one more time. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So this microphone should do a better job of rejecting side and rear sounds than the other microphones. Let's check it out. This is on axis for the MKE-600. This is 90 degrees off axis with the MKE-600. This is 180 degrees off axis with the MKE-600. And this is 90 degrees off axis on the other side with the MKE600. And we're back to on axis again. Now the goal with this video was not to declare a winner with these three microphones because, well, they're very different microphones and they're all sort of winners in their particular price point. If you just need a cheap shotgun microphone, you really can't go wrong with the Takstar at about 30 bucks. It outperforms some of the mini shotgun microphones I reviewed that are $20 or $30 more. And the shock mount on this microphone, it does the job adequately, but it does pick up some footsteps if you're walking with your camera, so I recommend mostly standing still when you're using this microphone. The Deity D4 is a really interesting microphone in the sense that it is a hybrid on-camera microphone and USB microphone. If you're doing talking head videos like what you're seeing here, you could definitely use this as your main microphone in the studio. You could even pull it out of the Rycote shock mount and put it into a more traditional shock mount and put that on a boom arm. There are certainly higher quality microphones out there to do studio recording with, but the fact that you can have one microphone that will be an on-camera mic and a studio microphone, that's pretty cool. From a feature standpoint, this microphone is the most modern and I think the most flexible. When it comes to sound quality, I think the Sennheiser has the other two beat, but you are certainly paying for that sound quality. With that upgrade of a microphone, you also get some downsides, which is basically the weight and the size. The size is useful, but the size can also get in the way. And the weight is going to make this a microphone that's not for the casual user. But really, picking which of these three microphones is right for you really comes down to what's your budget and what are your specific needs. But what if you do need a smaller microphone, a mini shotgun microphone that's either going to fit on your phone or like a compact camera like the ZV-1 here, or even just something that you can throw in your pocket for casual use? Well, I have good news. I recently did a review of 3 mini shotgun microphones, and in that particular video, there was a clear winner. If that's the type of microphone you're looking for, I suggest you click right here.